Hello my darlings, and welcome to another bedtime story with Mx.Olivia. Today's story is called A Story, an African tale retold and illustrated by Gail Haley. It is an Ananse or spider story, and those are believed to have originated with the Ashanti tribe in Ghana. Many African stories, whether or not they are about Ananse the Spider are called spider stories. This book is about how that came to be. Spider stories tell how small, defenseless men or animals outwit others and succeed against great odds. These stories cross the Atlantic Ocean in the cruel ships that delivered slaves to the Americas. Their descendants still tell some of these stories today. Ananse has become Ananse in the Caribbean Isles, while he survives as Aunt Nancy in the southern United States. You will find many African words in this story. If you listen carefully, you can tell what they mean by their sounds. At times, words and phrases are repeated several times. Africans repeat words to make them stronger. For example, so small, so small, so small means very, very, very small. The African storyteller begins, We do not really mean that what we are about to say is true. A story, let it come, let it go. Once, O small children round my knee, there were no stories on earth to hear. All the stories belonged to Inyame, the sky god. He kept them in a golden box next to his royal stool. Ananse, the Spider-Man, wanted to buy the sky god's stories, so he spun a web up to the sky. When the sky god heard what Ananse wanted, he laughed. Twe, twe, twe. The price of my stories is that you bring me Osebo, the leopard of the terrible teeth, Mbomboro, the hornet who stings like fire, and Motia, the fairy whom men never see. Ananse bowed and answered, I shall gladly pay the price. Twe, 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 chuckled the sky god. How can a weak old man like you, so small, so small, so small, pay my price? But Ananse merely climbed down to earth to find the things that the sky god demanded. Ananse ran along the jungle path, yididi, 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 till he came to Osebo the leopard of the terrible teeth. Oh ho, Ananse, said the leopard, you are just in time to be my lunch. Ananse replied, As for that, what will happen will happen. But first, let us play the binding game. The leopard, who was fond of games, asked, How is it played? With vine creepers, explained Ananse. I will bind you by your foot and foot. Then I will untie you, and you can tie me up. Very well, growled the leopard, who planned to eat Ananse as soon as it was his turn to bind him. So Ananse tied the leopard by his foot, by his foot, by his foot, by his foot with the vine creeper. Then he said, Now, Osebo, you are ready to meet the sky god. And he hung the tied leopard in a tree in the jungle. Next, Ananse cut a frond from a banana tree and filled a calabash with water. He crept through the tall grasses, sora, 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 till he came to the nest of Mbomboro, the hornets who sting like fire. Ananse held the banana leaf over his head as an umbrella. Then he poured some of the water in the calabash over his head. The rest he emptied over the hornet's nest and cried, It's raining, raining, raining! Should you not fly into my calabash so that the rain would not tatter your wings? Thank you, hummed the hornets, and they flew into the calabash. Thum! Ananse quickly stopped the mouth of the gourd. Now, Mbomboro, you are ready to meet the sky god, said Ananse, and he hung the calabash full of hornets onto the tree next to the leopard. Anansi now carved a little wooden doll holding a bowl. He covered the doll from top to bottom with sticky latex gum. Then he filled the doll's bowl with pounded yams. He set the little doll at the foot of a flamboyant tree where fairies liked to dance. Anansi tied one end of a vine round the doll's head and, holding the other end in his hand, he hid behind a bush. In a little while, Mutia, the fairy whom no man sees, came dancing, dancing, dancing to the foot of the flamboyant tree. There she saw the doll, holding the bowl of yams. Mutia said, "Gum baby, I am hungry. May I eat some of your yams?" Anansi pulled at the vine in his hiding place, so that the doll seemed to nod its head. So the fairy took the bowl from the doll and ate all the yams. "Thank you, Gum baby," said the fairy, but the doll did not answer. "Don't you reply when I thank you?" cried the angered fairy. The doll did not stir. "Gum baby, I'll slap your crying place unless you answer me," shouted the fairy. But the wooden doll remained still and silent. So the fairy slapped her crying place. Pah! Her hand stuck fast to the gum baby's sticky cheek. "Let go of my hand or I'll slap you again." Pah! She slapped the doll's crying place with her other hand. Now the fairy was stuck to the gum baby with both hands, and she was furious. She pushed against the doll with her feet, and they also stuck fast. Now Anansi came out of hiding. "You are ready to meet the sky god, Mutia." And he carried her to the tree where the leopard and the hornets were waiting. Anansi spun a web round Osebo, Mumboro, and Mutia. Then he spun a web to the sky. He pulled up his captives behind him and set them down at the feet of the sky god. "O Nyame," said Anansi, bowing low, "here is the price you asked for your stories. Osebo, the leopard of the terrible teeth, Mboro, the hornets who sting like fire, and Mutia, the fairy whom men never see." Nyame, the sky god, called together all the nobles of his court and addressed them in a loud voice. "Little Ananse, the Spider-Man, has paid me the price I asked for my stories. Sing his praise, I command you." "From this day and going on forever," proclaimed the sky god, "my stories belong to Anansi and shall be called Spider Stories." "Eee!" shouted all the assembled nobles. So Anansi took the golden box of stories back to Earth, to the people of his village. And when he opened the box, all the stories scattered to the corners of the world, including this one. This is my story, which I have related. If it be sweet, or if it be not sweet, take some elsewhere, and let some come back to me. All right, my darlings, that's the end of our bedtime story for tonight. Alejandro and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again next week. I love you. Good night.